Hi, I'm Jason Yu. Today I'll be talking about my 5 minute speech, my life turning point. My life have always been boring, but one extraordinary thing that happened to me completely changed my life. And let me tell you, I was not the kind of person who ever expected anything exciting to happen. Every day I felt the same. I'd woke up, drag myself to school, come home, do homework, maybe play some games, and then go to bed. It was like my life was stuck on repeat. Nothing exciting ever happened to me, but I kind of accepted that this was how my life was going to be. But then one day, everything changed. It was a Thursday afternoon, a total normal day. I was walking home from school like I always did. My backpack was heavy with books and homework, and I was dreading from the math assignment waiting for me. As I walked, I kicked a small rock along the sidewalk just to entertain myself. It was quiet, except for the occasional cars driving by. Suddenly, I heard a noise. At first, I thought I was imagining it. It was a soft, high pitched sound, almost like a little squeak. I stopped walking and looked around, but I didn't see anything. Then I hear it again, a fainted whimper, like someone or something was crying. I followed the sound to a bush near the sidewalk. That's when I saw it. Huddled under the bushes was the tiniest, cutest puppy I've ever seen. Its furs were dirty and tangled, and its little body was shaking. It looked so scared, and when it saw me, it tried to hide even deeper in the bushes. My heart sank. Who would ever leave a puppet out here all alone? I kneeled down and I whispered softly to it, hoping I wouldn't scare it even more. And after a few minutes, it slowly came out of the bush, and I gently picked it up. It was so small and light, and its little tiny body was shivering in my hands. As soon as I held it close, it stopped crying. I could feel its little heartbeats against my chest, and in that moment, I knew I couldn't leave it there. At first, I wasn't sure what to do. My parents are pretty strict. I didn't know if they'd let me keep a stray puppy. But I couldn't just leave it there, so I just made a decision. I was taking it home. Felt like a spy as I sneaked in the puppy into my house. Make sure the parents didn't see, brought it straight to my room, wrapped it in the old towel, and gave it some water. As I watched the puppy drink, I started to feel a connection. It was like the puppy trusted me, even though we have just met. I decided to name it Lucky because I felt like we're both lucky to found each other. Of course, my secret didn't last long. My parents found out the next day when they heard the little tiny barks coming from my room. At first, they weren't happy. They said taking care of a puppy was a big responsibility and then we should not just keep a stray animal in your room. But I begged them to give Lucky a chance. I promised to take care of him and clean up after him. Even a lot of pleading, they finally agreed to let me keep him in. From that day on, my life was never boring again. Lucky brought so much joy and energy into our home. Every morning, he would jump on my bed to wake me up, wiggling his tail so hard that it looked like it might fell off. His loved chase after tennis balls, chews on shoes, which my mom wasn't thrilled about, and curled up next to me when I did my homework. But more than just being fun, Lucky taught him some important lessons. Before I met him, I always felt like life didn't matter. Like I was just one ordinary person in a big world. But taking care of Lucky made me realize that even small actions can make a big difference. Helping out a little puppy gave him a second chance, but also gave me a new perspective on life. Now, whenever I think back to that day, I can't help but wonder what could have happened if I hadn't stopped when I hear the little cry. Will Lucky still be out there, scared and alone? It reminds me that life has a funny way of surprising us when we least expect it. Sometimes, extraordinary memories come from the simplest actions, like stopping to help someone, or in my case, a puppy. Thank you very much for listening to my speech.